It's 1835, and you're inside of one of the most beautiful buildings you've ever seen. In front of you, 8 dazzling crystal chandeliers drop from a gilded ceiling to light a hand-carved series of pillars. The violins warm up first, then the cellos. After that, it's the brass's turn. These tickets cost you a small fortune, especially when you think about how much the average person makes in 19th century Europe. But you can already tell that the night is going to be worth it. After all, you have the evening to enjoy these magnificent works by a little-known French composer who's doing some pretty avant-garde stuff with the music that he is composing. This is your special night at the House of Wiener Musikvereins, the Vienna Music Society. Afterwards, you walk home, whistling a tune from the evening's performance. You felt the moods of the music, a story through sound, the ups and the downs, and the joy and melancholy of this very, very different sounding orchestral performance. Okay, so now you're back to the present. A lot has changed in the last 200 years, but men and women like Todd Craven hope to bring the magic of symphony music to Northwest Florida for a long time hence. Before we go into the rest of the story, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, real estate professional Cindy Zimmerman. Cindy has just won her 3rd in a row Best of the Emerald Coast in real estate categories. And you could say she's pretty much a maestro when it comes to buying and selling homes here on the Emerald Coast. So if you want somebody who has proven results to help you buy or sell your home, I'd recommend Cindy Zimmerman. She's at cindyzsellshomes.com. Now, back to the story. Almost 200 years and half a world away from Vienna, Todd Craven wants to share the magic of symphony with audiences in Northwest Florida.
You know, I think classical music, especially, it's not for everyone, but it's for anyone who's open to it.
The Northwest Florida Symphony Orchestra's first concert on October the 12th is what great composer Leonard Bernstein called the first ever piece of musical psychedelia, kind of like a 19th century Jefferson airplane in a symphony hall.
This 5-movement symphony was actually inspired by an opium-induced fantasy. So Berlioz, overdid it a little bit in the opium den, and this piece kind of poured out of him, and it's kind of this little bit nightmarish fantasy, which is why it's perfect for Halloween.
What resulted from that composition was a piece of music perfectly spooky for Halloween, a piece of music that, paired with the seasonal festivities of October and the symphony's educational concerts directed towards children, will draw families to the doors of the Mattie Kelly and widen the audience for the orchestral music that Craven loves so much here on the Emerald Coast.
People have been saying now for decades, literally, that classical music audiences are dying out. Well, I don't think that's quite true, because perhaps once, the cycle somehow renews, So people, I think, if they're exposed to it fairly early on in life, if they've taken a hiatus, they kind of find their way back at some point in midlife or later. I think it's something, it's a seed that gets planted, And that's why, these education concerts are so crucial, because I think just one really positive experience of hearing classical music or hearing a live orchestra can plant that seed.
Now, while the symphony is primarily a sonic experience, that doesn't prevent the orchestra from innovating on the visual side of things. Among the mannequins in finished suits in her workshop, Tess Stackpool runs fabric through a sewing machine. The artist creates visual works of art to accompany Berlioz's music during the Halloween concert. Typically, she's making pieces for the theatrical productions at Northwest Florida State College, and now she's taking her innovative approach to costume making and applying it to the symphony's production.
We have a certain costume coming out of a certain artist you might recognize, so be on the lookout for a certain white jumpsuit, maybe a wig.
Oh. Craven, who spent his professional life in orchestral music, says the changes people like Stackpool bring make sense in the modern world of music.
That gives me hope. I think the art form, it has to shift. It has to become less traditional, less stodgy. The concert hall has to be a welcoming place.
The 2024-25 concert season begins on October the 12th at 2 p.m. with a family concert and a costume parade. The 7 p.m. show will play Berlioz music and feature a costume contest. The Holiday Pops concert is on the 6th of December, and that's the most famous one, so you want to get your tickets probably like right now. And the rest of the season's details can be found on your website or over here on the screen. I can't remember which side I put it on. More info, of course, midbaynews.com. I'm Christopher Saul, and this is Midbay News Emerald Coast Stories, presented to you by local real estate professional Cindy Zimmerman.